did not ask for help. He was that macho guy that wanted to fix everything himself, bootstrap everything, no leverage, not ask anybody for money. So I picked up some bad habits from my dad as well as great habits from my dad. And for the first 10 or so years, I was trying to do everything myself. And when you try to do everything yourself without a mentor, without a guide, without someone that actually knows what they're doing and already has results, then you end up hitting yourself against the wall quite a bit. So it was painful in the first few years until I got smart and said, this is too hard. Let me go find someone in a group of people that can support me and teach me this, not only theory, but that they're doing what I want to do.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, James? When did you get the real estate bug?
You know what? I think I realized the bug probably over the last 5 years. But I would also say, Jewel, even though I had never, outside of my primary home, I had never invested in real estate. Even prior to that, it was something that was always on my mind. Just the idea, maybe wishful thinking, like, man, what would it be like to have a couple of properties? But any thinking or even a pursuit, if you will, that really didn't happen until I met Carlos. And that's why for me, Jewel, I think having an understanding and of course absorbing and getting the information and then applying it, it just really accelerated my process. This deal that we are pursuing now and really excited about in Kentucky, that's going to add another couple hundred units to my portfolio. So even in saying that, and you know what I'm saying, it does something to your belief. It's just confirmation that, man, you could be a coconut head from American Samoa, right? And I've always said this. 5 years ago, I would say to Chris, man, Chrissy's my wife. I wish I would have known what I know now in my 20s or even in my 30s. And she would always remind you, say, hey, timing is everything and God's timing is perfect. So while I'm in my 50s, I feel like I have the energy like I did in my 20s because now I'm applying the information. We've heard this saying, knowledge is power. Well, that's not completely true. Knowledge is only power when you start applying, when you start putting things into play. And so I think that's been the difference. And so it's no longer just a bug. It's a reality. And I'm just so grateful that even here, we're getting to chat with you and just dream with like-minded individuals. There's
and Joe and James, I think for me, the bug didn't really hit me hard until I started doing commercial real estate. When I understood the commercial real estate game and the multiple and the growth and the tax benefits and just how much bigger that game was, James could tell you. I basically put everything aside, put all my other businesses in the hands of good managers and said, guys, I'm leaving you. I'm going to go do a different thing. And I completely and absolutely obsessed about learning commercial real estate and investing in it for a good season until I mastered it. And now we're having amazing results at it. So that's really when the bug hit. That was probably 4 or 5 years ago now.
Wow. So you literally put all your businesses in the hands of other people and said, I am really going to just focus on commercial real estate, just because obviously you didn't just do that for no reason. The math had to be math and the profit had to be there. And it made sense for you to put a focal on it. And I'm glad you said that. If you're watching right now, we're having this conversation because I want you to know what the possibilities are. I think that real estate is probably one of the smartest financial decisions that anybody can make. I'm very passionate about women getting involved in real estate, very passionate about women of color getting involved in real estate. Real estate is still very much male dominated, from the contractors to even the investors to the title companies. And we've been able to build together a pretty cool community of people that will support you from getting the lending, everything that you need from beginning to end, finding the properties, even finding deals like this. Like, you can't just get on Google and say, I want to invest in 233 units. That's not how it works. You got to be a part of a network that actually says, hey, you know what? Go look at this, go look at that. I'm actually buying a 16 unit right now, but it's not on the market, right? It's within the network. And so, those of you that are watching right now, I want you to know that getting involved in a network is going to be extremely, extremely important for you if you are serious about doing real estate. First of all, you need people able to need people that have eyes and ears to understand what is a good deal. Because a good deal is not a good deal unless it's a good deal, right? Location matters. The structure of the building, when the building was built, what is what are the rental comps? What are the purchase price comps? What is the equity going to be over the next couple of years? What's going on in the city? Like, there are a lot of different things that you need to look at. And so when my husband told me that he had met Carlos and James, I was like, okay. And he was telling me what they were doing. I got really, really excited, because I'm always looking for people that are really, really, really good at what they do. That's how you become wealthy. You get good. You don't have to get good at everything, but you do have to get good at understanding when people are operating in their genius. And when they're operating in their genius, those are the ones, if it's in alignment with your vision, those are the ones that you want to connect to, so that you don't have to read 1,000 books, go to 1,000 conferences to still feel like you don't know what the heck you're doing. So Carlos brought to my husband and I a phenomenal deal, 233 units in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. When I saw the presentation, I'm telling you, everything in me was like, yes. And so Carlos, tell them a little bit about what's happening in Elizabethtown. First of all, Carlos is not new to this. Carlos actually owns, brag a little bit about what you got, because I want people to know I'm not bringing somebody here that's still a student. Not that he's not a student, still learning, but he definitely has the receipts, right? So talk about what you've already accomplished and some of those numbers so that people can understand, and then we'll talk about the opportunity.
Yeah, Jewel, I came to the United States at 17 years old. It was my parents' dream that we would come and study here, and went to school, got a couple degrees, one in business, one in engineering. And then I thought a job was the solution, but quickly I realized that that was not the solution, and I started a business. And after that business, I went from my garage to a warehouse, then purchased a warehouse, a commercial warehouse, 50,000 square feet, that it's our headquarters today. And I started hobby investing in real estate, just residential. But what I realized over the years, after I started 3 other multi-million-dollar companies and I sold one for 8 figures, is that the real estate that my office was in, the commercial real estate that my office was in, had appreciated in the last 13 years 8 times.
Wow.
And that was very hard to ignore, because my residential home that I bought almost at the same time had only appreciated twice. So I'd say, you know what, which horse am I going to ride? I'm going to ride the residential horse or the commercial horse that is, at least in my experience, 8 times more efficient. And even if it's only 4 times more efficient, I'll be here because it's a much bigger play and it just appreciates and scales so much faster. So that really turned on that light bulb in me and said, you know what, I need to go get units, more units, commercial multifamily units. And in the last 4 years, I've acquired over 1,200 apartment units